4 days, 9 hours, and 55 minutes till greatness hits our console and PC. PlayStation, you'll have to watch it on YouTube. But we will be enjoying greatness in the form of Starfield. Today, we talk about news and stuff. And Starfield, the hype is real! We will be talking about all kinds of things today. Okay, let's stop that. Anyways, I am super hyped.
I was hoping for another 10 minutes of that, Fonz.
No.
That could have been the whole show. That could have been the entire show. I would have listened to the entire thing like that.
I appreciate that, guys. But look, it's another Games Talk Live. Welcome. And I am super pumped. As you can see, I themed out my whole show for Starfield this week, and I'll have it for a couple of more weeks, I'm sure, because I am super excited for the game. I saw somebody write in chat earlier that Fonz is the only one that's truly excited or genuinely excited for Starfield. That is wrong, sir. There is many people that are genuinely excited for this game. I have two guests right here today that are genuinely excited for this game as well, probably as much as I am, I'm sure. The first guest I will, introduce here, of course, is someone who's been here before, but he's a great guest and a great friend, good person of the show. That is Mr. Plume Network. Welcome, sir. I am happy to see you here again.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for this upcoming week. It's going to be just awesome when Starfield is. I'm, like you said, genuinely excited for this game, and everything is looking up for it. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we got a lot of things to talk about today. I'm sure, well, I'll tell you this, Plume. I forgot to give you and Mav basically my topics, my list of topics, but you both have been talking about this stuff all week. So you're well versed in what we're going to be talking about today. So that's for sure. But the Starfield hype is real, people. Yes, I questioned it on my thumbnail, but hey, you got to clickbait a little to get people in, but it's real. Okay. It's real. Damn it. Mav, welcome. Fun speculation.
What's up, man? Good to be back again. I guess I'm just a little excited for Starfield. I don't know. I mean,
Mav?
all of this talk, these people trying to take away my hype. It's like, well, there's starting to be a little buzz. No, screw that, man. The hype is immense. I've said on Twitter, it's like this hype train is like a black hole. You cannot escape it, right? I don't remember the last time I felt this way about a game, and I can't wait, dude. What was the time again? You said, was it 4 days?
4 days, 9 hours, 52 minutes, and 55 seconds.
Oh my God.
Got the countdown timer going. So
just prepare for launch, man. That's what I'm in this mood of just preparing for launch. And we're going to be in that final countdown mode soon.
You know what I've been doing lately, Mav, is I've been sitting there and, I listen to a whole bunch of different genres of music. I am like, my likes in the music industry is just all over the place.
Same.
And every time I hear a song that references space or something, I immediately jump to Starfield. So,
dude, I've been making a playlist.
Oh, have you?
For Starfield music. Yeah, it's just like anything that has like a space reference. It could say like the word space in it. It could say like rocket. It could say moon or whatever. Like it's just we got like 60 or 70 songs already. Like just
you better have Space Oddity by David Bowie.
Rocket Man was the first song because it was in the Starfield live action trailer, and then Space Oddity was the second song I added. And then there's so many space songs out there, dude. It's crazy.
I will be sitting in that tin can far above the earth. I will definitely be rocking out to some of those jams. But yes, Ground Control to Major Tom. Yeah. You gotta have Space Oddity. I knew that would be in there. But no, I am so excited for this game, guys. I'm so juiced. That's why I'm like yelling out these guys' names today. I'm like, Mav, and he's like, well, I'm here, and I'm juiced, people. It's going to be a great weekend next weekend because yes, we will have Starfield early access to those of you who bought into it. I say buy into it. The hype is real, people. If you're on the fence about getting into early access and you've got Game Pass, it's like $30. Like, it's a no-brainer. I'm telling you, the game is freaking legit. It's going to be one of the games of the year for sure. In my opinion, could possibly be game of the generation, but we'll see. I love Bethesda single player RPGs. And I know my boys here, Plume and Mav, both do as well. So we're all in on this. It's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. And I'm getting sent images. My family is out right now, so they're sending me like pictures and stuff. So I'm sorry if you hear little dings and stuff going off. Apologies, but yeah, we're going to get on to the show. We're going to talk about first. We're going to get into Xbox giving Ubisoft Activision Blizzard cloud control to appease the CMA guys. That's right. All cloud streaming for Activision Blizzard games for consoles and PC will be given to the Ubisoft people, folks, for the next 15 years. Are they giving away too much here, guys? Plume?
Well, I don't think so. For the perspective of them trying to get this deal passed in the UK, I feel like they are setting themselves up so that they're in a good relationship with them going forward for future acquisitions, right? They don't want to be closing over them. They want to get this thing closed across the entire world without closing over a major regulator. So they're doing this. And I think the whole thing with the giving the cloud distribution to Ubisoft, it's like, if you're an Xbox gamer, you're an Xbox fan, it really doesn't change anything. It's not like these games aren't going to be coming on to cloud gaming. It's just essentially giving Ubisoft the rights to kind of distribute these games to more people, which kind of falls in line with Xbox's entire ecosystem and their strategy. So I don't think they're giving away too much for the situation that they're in. Now, if they just voluntarily did this, if everybody was okay with this deal going through and then they voluntarily did this, then it wouldn't make any sense. But the CMA is pushing their hand to do something with cloud gaming. And as we know, Xbox is trying to close this deal for the mobile side of gaming. That's their main thing. They're going to do whatever they have to do. I think we saw something, I forget where I saw this, but it was some new statistics that Xbox had kind of showing that there was like that stagnation in growth for cloud gaming. So for them, the next 15 years, that growth for cloud gaming may not be as big as they were expecting it. So they can kind of risk giving off some of that power to Ubisoft and potentially building out an even better relation with Ubisoft. And I think everybody's going to benefit at the end of the day. That's kind of my take on it.
Mav, what do you feel? Do you feel they're giving up too much here?
I feel like it's really, at the end of the day, not going to affect people too much. Like it affects Microsoft more than anything, right?
Good point.
As a consumer, it doesn't really affect us too much because I believe the deal is probably going to work in a way where they can just license back the content for Xbox Cloud, and then it just allows Ubisoft to sell the rights to other places as well and license them, which is more what it's about. And so for me, it's just like checking every box where there can be no more questions, no more recourse, nothing that can come back on them, even in the future with the FTC as well, because this is global besides the EU. So there's a lot of aspects to this. And I had a thought, like maybe you could call it a conspiracy or whatever.
Oh.
But originally, when we knew they were doing all these cloud deals with all these different partners, right? Some of us have speculated, well, is Amazon going to be the next one? Right? Is Luna going to be the next? Because that would have been a home run for the deal. But there never came that news. So if you go to Ubisoft already has that relationship with Luna, and they already, on Ubisoft's announcement of this deal as well, they mentioned Amazon Luna there. So in a way, this may be like kind of going to Ubisoft, so that way you can check that Amazon Luna box without actually having to make a deal with Amazon as well, which would help with the CMA or anything else that comes up in the future. But overall, as a consumer, it affects the cloud aspect, but it's not really going to affect too many people in too many ways. If anything, it kind of strengthens the partnership and relationship with Ubisoft and Microsoft a little bit, which in the long term can be another benefit for that as well. So, hey, I don't really see any negatives, except for it is kind of annoying that the CMA has this much power to where they're the only ones that have made this big of a deal.
Exactly.
Take it to this point. It's prolonging things a little bit longer. They could have just went back and changed their original decision, which the cat judge was trying to throw them a bone and get them to do, but it didn't seem like they they didn't want to break their procedure or whatever. So you have this whole new approval process on the new merger proposition. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge thing, and it still going through without much impact. So.
Well, without much impact to the gamer, of course, but will it affect their bottom end? Probably, their bottom line. Yeah, I can see that.
Cost them some,
But for us, the gamer, it really doesn't do much for us. Albeit, it did prolong this whole situation, and it does kind of make you think and wonder, how can the CMA really speak for everyone on this issue? Like, pretty much every other country has okayed the deal, except for the CMA.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest issue I take away from it as well. It's like,
they're puffing.
Who are you?
Right?
Who are you? Like, it's a bit ridiculous. But well said, guys. Well said. And I don't want to take too much time on this topic because there's so much to talk about today, so much to talk about this week. Let me see if I had any chats based on this topic real quick. Okay, I have one here. From Spartan661, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, maybe it is a strategic thing for Xbox to have Ubisoft games in Game Pass instead of us paying for Ubisoft Plus. Do you think that's what's going to happen, kind of an exchange of games going into Game Pass?
I think there could be that potential. I mean, Ubisoft Plus is on Xbox right now where you can just sign up and use it. And maybe they're testing stuff out here that potentially this comes to become like an EA Play sort of situation where that drops into the Ultimate service and there's a new tier. Maybe you're paying like $2 or $3 more a month, but you're getting access to everything, which I think would be, for somebody who likes Ubisoft games, I know Fonz, you like them as well. I would sign up for another couple bucks a month for Game Pass if they were giving us all the Ubisoft games and Ubisoft Plus content in there. So maybe they're working on something in that sense. And that's something that Xbox realized they have a good relationship with Ubisoft, and that's why they're okay with making this deal. So I would love to see that in the future if that was a thing.
Yeah, I definitely am one of those guys who enjoys Ubisoft games. You and I both, Plume, are one of the. It seems like we're rare out there. Like most people out there is like F Ubisoft, F their games. I'm like, I enjoy their big open world games. I enjoy it. Let's get into Gamescom. We just had, Gamescom, I think today is the last day for Gamescom 2023. And we've seen plenty of games and stuff. Opening Night Live with Jeff Keighley happened, which was kind of a weird show, right? Like, I don't know if you watched it, but you had like the guy run on stage. You had people dressing up in costumes. There was like, look, I don't care for theatrics when it comes to these type of gaming shows. I just like to see the games, but it was kind of funny to see all that kind of stuff. Like, what was some of your takeaways, Plume, from that show and Gamescom in general?
It was honestly, other than the guy running up on stage, I didn't expect that to happen. The show itself was exactly as I expected. It was just going to be giving us a look at stuff pretty much that we already knew was coming, maybe some deeper looks into some of these games. No real big surprises. I'd say like one of the biggest surprises of the show was they dropped Age of Empires 4, like they shadow dropped that into Game Pass, which I thought was pretty cool for a console. But other than that, everything that they showed off, nothing surprised me. To me, Gamescom is that event that's like after we get all those big special announcements where we get just further details on the stuff that we are playing. And that's kind of what we saw this week, especially at like the Xbox booth where we got deeper dives into major games like Stalker 2. People have got hands on that, which was pretty cool. Yes. So nothing surprised me with that show. I expected, so I didn't walk away excited or disappointed. I just walked away kind of indifferent as to what I saw, but still it just kind of shows how insane this next year or so, or end of 2023 going through 2024 is with the amount of stuff that is coming out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, Rand, I see you in the chat. Randall Thor people. Definitely cool to see Rand in the chat. He never comes by. Rand hates me now. and plus Rand has been, no-lifing Starfield and has just been MIA to everybody recently. But
lucky guy.
It's Rand's birthday today. So
very lucky. Happy birthday, Rand. Happy birthday. He asked me to give him a Starfield for him on his birthday. Starfield. There you go, Rand. There you go. For Gamescom, Was there any game in particular, Plume, that you saw there that you were like, oh, I can't wait to play that, or you saw more of it, and you got hyped for it?
Black Myth Wukong looked really cool.
Yes,
that one.
Yes.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a game I think started from like one guy who was developing it, and then obviously they expanded after. So it's pretty impressive what they have been able to do, unless I'm mixing that up with a different game. But and then Crimson Desert.
Oh,
that one. That one looks super cool.
Black Myth, I've got it playing in the background right now. It looks just amazing. And it's looked amazing now for like the years we've seen it. We've seen this like the last couple of years, right? At least 2-3 years. Hopefully it's coming out soon, because I really want to play this game. The other game you're talking about, which was Crimson Desert, it's made by Pearl Abyss. This is the same company that did Black Desert Online. And I want people to really pay attention to that, because if you didn't like Black Desert Online, I'm not saying they're the same type of games, but I didn't care for the mechanics and the gameplay in Black Desert Online. I played that game. I gave it a shot. Didn't care for it. There's something a little off of the Crimson Desert game. I don't know what it is, but it looks like it almost tries to be an Assassin's Creed type game, but then there's just something that looks off.
It's funny you say that, because I never played Black Desert, so I didn't make that full connection when they showed this off. But when they did show Crimson Desert, I tweeted out, this really reminds me of an Assassin's Creed game. And people on my Twitter were saying it reminds me of a Black Desert game because it's from the same developer. But I thought like a lot of the running around, the mechanics with like the combat, and it looked like the open world Assassin's Creed RPGs. But then there was like a bunch of other stuff in there that was like additional to that. So that's kind of why I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to tell people, be wary that it is the same, developers as Black Desert, and has a similar name there, Crimson Desert. It's like,
I think the main difference with this one is like, because this is a single player game, right? Like maybe they can focus more on the gameplay aspects and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Black Desert, they had some cool looking animations and stuff too, cool looking combat, and it just didn't pan out when I tried it. It really wasn't like what I was expecting. So me looking at this, I've got the footage up now of Crimson Desert. I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, this is more like Assassin's Creed, and I think I'm going to really love this. But if you look at some of the angles and stuff that this combat is showing, there's something that they're not really showing us completely. Like I can't see, there's certain angles of when you're fighting off your horse and everything, you'll see that it's like up close sometimes, and some is like almost like a 2D side scroller, and then other times it's like an Assassin's Creed type game. Like I don't know what exactly it's going to feel like, and I'm going to give it a go. I would give it a go. Don't get me wrong. If it's a good game, people are reviewing it and it reviews well, I'll give it a shot. But I keep it in the back of my mind that, look, this is the Black Desert studio, and I don't know. There's things that look off about this to me, just little things here and there. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on it, but it is what it is. See, like right there, you're like kind of side, like, I don't know what that is. Like, why does it look like it's almost like a side scroller right there? That right there,
killing my excitement fonts.
I don't understand that. And then other parts, you're like just in an open world. Like, I don't know.
A lot of these games, sometimes like these developers that we're not used to playing as much. I know BDO has a huge community, right? So there's a lot of people that are excited for this that are BDO fans. But besides that, like, there's a lot of us that aren't into those games or haven't really been. So it's gonna be like, the proof is going to be when the game comes out at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So we'll check it out. Right now, it looks really promising. At least it's one of these games that looks this good that they have developed a successful game before. So there's a lot of games that have that too good to be true look to them sometimes, that it's like, well, what have they done before, right? And I remember there was one at the PlayStation show that I can't remember the name of it. We're all like, whoa, what is that? It looks great. And then we find out they've only developed a mobile game in the past, right? So you never know. I mean, this could be great, could not be, but right now it looks really cool. And I agree with the Assassin's Creed aspect. Plus, I see a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima in there. I see some Witcher in there. Lots of like references in the scene that just played right there. That was kind of straight out.
That's it though, Mav. It's almost like they're doing too much, and I don't know, and they're confusing me with all the looks to the combat. Like I'm really confused. Like I'm seeing all this, and it's like this weird close-up stuff. Then I'm seeing like a Souls-like game now, and I just don't know what it is. I want to see more. Okay, I'll say that. I do want to see more because it does look interesting, and the locales and stuff. Look at that. That looks crazy cool. Like that area there looks awesome. But
yeah, we'll have to wait and see
what's going on here.
Yeah, is that the what is it? What do they call that for in Assassin's Creed where you travel in and out of? Not the abyss. What is it?
Animus.
Animus. There you go.
Yeah,
is that the Animus? You know,
yeah.
That's funny. Well, Mav, how about you? Anything else that you saw there that you were interested in, and you're thinking, wow, that looks really cool?
Overall, I really did like the show. There was less advertising than any other Keighley show I've seen before. There was a couple of those filler moments, right? That like the cosplay stuff and everything like that. But overall, the show was really good. I liked what they showed. They had a lot of big games there. The Mortal Kombat gameplay was insane.
Oh, I can't wait for Mortal Kombat.
I mean, they had Tekken 8 as well. They had the Age Shadow Drop as well. So there was a lot of cool stuff there. I kind of am with Plume on kind of the same games that were surprises. There's Crimson Desert was kind of like, whoa, caught my eye and puts it on my radar more. Other than that, though, there wasn't like.
What about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3? What do you guys think about that?
The campaign trailer for Call of Duty was really good, but it did raise more questions for me about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, as I take and our buddy Jasper, who does a lot of stuff with us on our channel, he did a solo stream and he kind of broke some of this stuff down, and he was noting that the open combat missions were kind of Warzone pieces taken from Warzone,
really,
and reused for parts of the campaign for Modern Warfare 3. So if you take it into what we know about Modern Warfare 3, originally it was rumored to be an expansion of Modern Warfare 2, right? That was the original rumors that it was going to be a full-priced expansion, okay? So now we have a campaign that has cobbled together rehashed Warzone maps for these open combat missions to potentially prolong the campaign. Then you also have all of the multiplayer maps or Modern Warfare 2 remasters, right? So for me, it adds credibility. This was always originally going to be an expansion. Now they've cobbled this together to create Modern Warfare 3, which for me is a little weird. Also, it breaks the chain for what Call of Duty always does. They usually do different franchises back to back. They never have done a Modern Warfare followed by another Modern Warfare year after year. So I think this was cobbled together to become a full release, to where they can get away with doing a full release for Modern Warfare 3, which is cool and all if it's enough content and all that stuff. But that makes me question why they would do that, because Modern Warfare 3, if you imagine they'd have a normal lead up, a normal couple years wait until you have to get to play that, you would think there'd be this immense hype for the next Modern Warfare 3, like there was Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 1. But instead, it's like, business-wise, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense unless there's a reason for them to do a full release that they weren't planning on this year, right? So I think this potentially is to get out of the to finalize the PlayStation marketing deal with a full release this year. So that way, when this acquisition is finalized next year, they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
It is interesting what we saw. The actual gameplay from the campaign looks sick, right? But it does reek of expansion turned into full release.
So, Plume, what do you think of this? What they're calling open combat system?
it looks like it's a nice change where you're going to have, I guess, more options on how you want to take on each mission. Like, I enjoy the Call of Duty campaigns, just kind of further linear, kind of turn your brain off, sit through, and just like shoot up a bunch of people. And that's why I play them. It's just kind of for that brainless fun for me. I don't really play it for the story. This one, there's going to be a little bit more variety, which sounds like it's a good idea. But I definitely agree that it just looks like an expansion that they're shoving in there now as a full price premium game, especially when you hear about things like we've never seen them allow you to carry content over, right, from one game to the other.
Yep.
And they're doing that with
Wow.
MW3. So that's something, I think that's just a telltale sign. But I mean, they can price it at $70 because they know they're still going to be the best selling game. It doesn't really matter to them whether it's DLC or not. But yeah, I think the open concept will be a nice change. We'll see how expansive it is, like how much freedom you actually have in each level, or if it's just going to be you have maybe one or two different options. I think that's going to be the key, whether it's a big change or not.
Yeah, I personally love the fact that they're trying to open it up a bit more. I know I played them, and when they were just doing that linear experience, but I like going at these games in different ways. So like just it giving me a different way to tackle each mission is going to be something, well, it's brand new to the series, but it'll feel good with that Modern Warfare feeling too, with the gunplay and everything that they bring us every time. I do like that about these campaigns, and I personally haven't played one of their campaigns in years. So for me, it's not going to feel like a DLC. It'll feel like a brand new experience because I have not played a Call of Duty game campaign or even multiplayer in probably the last 5-6 years.
I loved Modern Warfare 2 campaign. So I am excited for this just to continue that, right?
And I'm more excited that this has the potential. Well, eventually it will be in Game Pass, all these games, and I'll be able to experience all of them that I've missed. Yeah. So that's cool. I just thought it was really cool. And I think, playing this here in the background, it just looked really awesome because the gameplay, it looked really cool. Looked fun. What else was going on there at the Game Awards? I know that guy ran on stage and was like acting a fool during the whole Starfield thing. And he just kept yelling something about GTA 6. I want to play GTA 6. And I'm sitting there going, so does everybody else. Just sit down. What are you doing? Like, I didn't understand that at all. Like, he just had no reason for jumping up there at all.
Yeah,
from what I understand. Yeah, from what I understand, this is a guy who's done it before. I think he did it on like a German TV show or some other TV show. This is like his thing. He goes up there and says he wants to play GTA 6 or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So that's like his shtick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just,
That's weird. What about, here's one thing that they showed, and I'm still not hyped for, Plume, and maybe you and I can discuss this as well, of course with you, Mav, too, but Assassin's Creed Mirage. I am not hyped for this game, and part of the reason is because they've kind of departed from doing what they've been giving us with like Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla. I like that RPG aspect of the Assassin's Creed games, and it's like they're going back to the originals, and it's going to be like one of those put up or shut up moments to see how much they sell, because a lot of these people out there are always complaining, oh, well, I like the old Assassin's Creed better. I want them to go back to that. Well, let's see if you really like the old Assassin's Creed much better.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to Mirage. I'm looking forward just because I like the franchise. Yeah. Because I've played the older ones as well, but I'm looking forward to it because it just means they're giving us variety in Assassin's Creed games. We know that there are tons of other games that they are working on, like the Assassin's Creed Codename Red, which is going to be the next big open world one set in Japan, which I think we've already seen some gameplay of it. That's upcoming, but I'm happy that they aren't kind of like shoving another one of those right away down our throats where it's probably going to turn people off, and they're giving people the choice between both. And Mirage, I mean, it's going back to the old styles. I liked Assassin's Creed 1. I liked Assassin's Creed 2. and just kind of seeing that in an updated modern graphics on new hardware with, I'm sure the city's going to be a lot more alive, I think will be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm probably going to be jumping into this one day one when it releases in between Starfield sessions.
Yeah. I guess that. Mav, what about you? Are you interested in Mirage?
Yeah, I'm one of the guys that loves the older school Assassin's
Really?
Creeds, right? But I also
How
like
dare
big
you,
open world.
sir.
I like
No.
both, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that if they release, they have so many damn Assassin's Creed games in the works. It's like 10 or more. I don't exactly know how many. If every single one is like this huge, massive open world game as big as Valhalla, it's not going to work, right? Because there's just be too much on top of too much, right? So if they space it out, do different takes on it, which is kind of what they're doing, you're kind of appeasing both fan bases, and you're giving more time in between those releases of the big, huge open world ones, which I appreciate, right? So the next one, yeah, like you said, was going to be the Japan one, and that's going to be insane. In the meantime, now with this insane year that we have in 2023, where there's way too many games that I'm not going to be able to finish anyway, I really appreciate this like shorter, smaller in scope Assassin's Creed experience, because I'm more likely to play this now than I would have been if it was one of the other Assassin's Creeds, because I still haven't beat Valhalla. Like I loved Origins. Origins was fantastic.
Origins was great till the end. Yeah, it was amazing till the end.
Odyssey was really good. And then Valhalla it was even bigger, and it's like, okay, it's really cool and really impressive, and I get it, but like they were getting a little too big for me when we haven't gotten any of those traditional Assassin's Creeds in a long time.
I get it. So, but Odyssey to me is the pinnacle of AC games, in my opinion. I think it was amazing. All
for
the way
me, it's almost like there's two different franchises, right? There's like post Origins.
I could see that,
right? And then there's pre Origins, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the RPG Assassin's Creed, and then there's the before, like with more of the single story focused.
Yeah, I used to say all the time that they should have renamed it something else. It shouldn't have been Assassin's Creed, what they created with the RPG aspect and, the huge open world, because they were very different. Yeah. But yeah. Hargeet's arguing with me because he said that the worst one was Valhalla out of all of them. I would say Valhalla's the worst out of the latest batch of games since Origin, but it was still decent to me. But Black Flag for me was terrible. And that is because it was more focused on the water, and I hate the boating stuff. I just don't like it. Those ship battles are just not my thing.
I like that one because it was different. Also, like I don't mind like I'm experimenting and doing different things. Like sometimes these, and Ubisoft, one reason Ubisoft gets a lot of flack is because they tend to have success with something, and then everything has to follow that path every time, right? Yeah. So when they did Black Flag, it was kind of like a one-off experience with that, more or less, and that was like really cool. But now since Origins, they've build upon the same formula, right? Yeah. So I don't mind things like that. Black Flag was awesome to me, and it's
everybody has their own. Yeah,
it's strange that we haven't gotten another follow-up to that. It was supposed to be Skull and Bones. Was what everybody asked for them to spin off Black Flag into a pirate franchise, right? Because there was enough fans of it, but instead they just, I don't know what the hell happened with that game.
Alfonso Mendoza, I see in the chat. He says, Fonz can't swim. Confirmed. No, I can swim. I'm not a strong swimmer, though. I'll tell you that. I learned that the hard way in a river recently. The current was just I'm not a strong swimmer at all. I can stay afloat for the most part for a little while, but I need to take my ass to shore really quickly. I'm just not that strong. But that's not the reason why I don't like the game. Another thing they showed at Gamescom that I thought was, go ahead, Plume.
I was going to say the best part about Black Flag is the pirates singing when you're on your boat and just sailing across and listening to them sing. That's literally my favorite part of the game. I would just sail and just listen to the songs.
If I want to do that, I'll play like Sea of Thieves or something because they do the same type of stuff in that game. But yeah, no thanks. Boating is just not my thing in a game. There's just something about it in every game. Like anytime you have to take a boat somewhere, I'm just like, really? I did the same thing in God of War, and I love God of War 2018. But when you have to jump in the boat, I hated it. I hated every second of it. Just get me on land, damn it. I'll get in a vehicle, a car on land. It doesn't matter. Just not a boat. One game that they did show at the here, let me show this. They played this little trailer here, a live action trailer for Starfield at Gamescom. And I personally thought it was great. I know the community was kind of mixed on it. Some that liked it really loved it, but others were like, oh, I wanted to see more gameplay. And I'm like, didn't we see enough gameplay? Like, I'm okay with the gameplay. Like, I know enough. I thought these live action trailers are supposed to evoke emotion and just suck you into a narrative and just want you to, they want to pull you in with something that you look at that looks really cool like this and say, play our game. And that's what it does. It speaks to my soul. I loved it. I loved the whole, cover of Rocket Man in the background and everything. It was beautiful. Like, I love this trailer. What about you guys? Matt?
I want them to make a TV show that looks exactly like this because it was amazing. Like the art style of this, the cinematics and stuff was incredible. It was like we've seen a lot of gameplay trailers. We've seen a lot of direct gameplay footage. We had a 45-minute showcase, right? To see like the amount of work that probably went into making this trailer is really cool, right? So I didn't mind it at all. I thought the cover also of Rocket Man was like perfect song choice for it. Yeah. And it gave me chills, dude, watching it live. First off, you had Enon Zur playing the piano with like screenshots and little images in the background of Starfield. And then you have this live action trailer that just got you right. And I freaking loved it, man. It increased my hype. It's a live action.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
It's like cinematic trailer, like but it increased my hype because it actually gave me chills when I was watching it, and that's what it's designed for.
Yeah, Plume.
Yeah, I'm right with you guys on that. It gave me chills. It got you right in the feelers. It's exactly what this game needs right now. I don't need any more gameplay. I really, honestly, don't need any more information on Starfield. We're so close to it. We got the 45-minute trailer, video, deep dive, whatever you want to call it, where they literally went over every single mechanic in this game, and people walked away from that with their minds exploding with how much stuff you can do and how deep it is. We've seen the updated combat from that trailer, which looks phenomenal. I don't need any more gameplay. I don't need to see any more about Starfield. If you really want to go see more info about Starfield, there are plenty of leaks out there, which I'm trying to avoid on a daily basis.
Me too, brother. I've been avoiding them. There was like a leak of, you guys heard about this, 45 minutes was leaked, the first 45 minutes of the game. And it was out there for people to see, and I could have watched it if I wanted to, but I avoided it because it was the opening of the game. Like, if it was just like a vertical slice of gameplay, I probably would have watched it, but because it's the opening of the game, I don't want to be spoiled by that. So I didn't care to watch it. But this guy, he then films himself on camera, and what happens? They come and arrest him, and they fined him, I think, $10,000 for posting that. Insane.
No, it wasn't just posting it. It was because he stole the merch. He stole the Starfield copies from a warehouse. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, that's why he was arrested for that, and then also for marijuana possession. But
what a dummy! What a dummy!
He stole the stuff and then proceeded to post evidence that he stole stuff on social media.
Yeah,
and with the
not a real smart guy there for sure.
No,
he needed the clicks on Twitter because they're paying people out now, so he's trying to get that right. Showing his face and everything.
Yeah, no. But also, with that trailer that they showed, the live action trailer, it's like we said, it's just to get people hype. To get people to really, give them goosebumps, bumps and stuff, and it did that. It did that, and I think it worked for a lot of people. I can't wait to sit down and play this game. We're going to talk more about Starfield in a little bit, but getting through Gamescom, one thing I did see there is that they had the new Starfield cover for the Series X, like the wrap, they're calling it. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's like this wrap you can put around. There's several of them I saw, but this one was for Starfield, and it looked cool. It's a good way of giving us a sort of a Starfield console look without having to buy another whole console. I think these are great. This reminds me of the old plates that you used to get for the Xbox 360. You remember the front plates that you can change and everything back in the day? That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it looks way, because people were taking pictures of it on Twitter and stuff who were at Gamescom, and I think it looks much nicer in person than I would have expected. And I think the question here with these are the quality of it, right? And the cost of it, because I think it's $50. People were saying, oh, it's just a wrap, spending $50 on it. But I think it's like a thicker, more premium silicone style of wrap. So I don't know. It looks good. It's a good way to give people an option to kind of to choose and customize their Xboxes. And obviously, I think a lot of people wanted a custom special edition Starfield Xbox Series X like they did with Halo Infinite. They didn't do that. They gave us the controller and the headset and then the Constellation edition instead. But this is kind of that, giving you that for a much cheaper cost. You don't have to go out there and buy a brand new console for it. So I think it looks cool. I hope that they make these for like the majority of their big first party releases, and then maybe get some cool third party deals out there for big games that are coming out, kind of like what they did with the Xbox 360 faceplates. Because I don't know about you guys, but I had a ton of those and they're just stacked up everywhere for my 360, and we switched them out and stuff. So
yeah,
cool.
It's something cool. I don't know, Mav. Do you like this idea of putting out these kind of wraps?
I pre-ordered it right away.
Yeah,
I love the idea, because not everybody can get one of those usually limited supply $550 to $600 special edition consoles when they come out, right? And even if you are able to, you still have to be lucky enough to be one of the first ones to pre-order it. And then a lot of us already have our consoles, you know what I mean? So for this, it allows everybody to be able to get this, right? So you can get it. Not only that, but because it's a higher quality and it's replaceable, you can start a collection of multiple different games. It seems with the raised ink and the material it's made out of, it's going to last as well. So you can use it again later.
For sure.
The price point is not even a problem for me. I know I saw some people talking about that, but those, you can get vinyl stickers are $30 to $40, and those, like, if you take them off, they're ruined, right? So this allows reusability. You can start collecting them, use them over time. You don't have to buy a whole new console to have your Series X decked out, and it covers 3 full sides with partial on the back, but like 3 full sides. You're getting a great looking piece of hardware there, and it has there's no downside.
Yeah, pretty much wherever you're seated in your home, you're just going to see those 3 sides anyway. You're not going to see the back of the console. You're going to look at that and think, wow, that's a themed console. That's what it looks like. It looks really good.
Yeah, I saw that. You see the pictures of the one at Gamescom, like on the shelf. You could have told me that's a special Series X console. I would have believed you. Right.
And guess what, guys? You don't need a screw to apply it.
Yeah.
You don't need any kind of tools. You're okay. You don't need a screwdriver. You don't need anything.
I already got what I hope they do is I hope they open this up to third-party games also, to like allow them to make these for, like, imagine like a Mortal Kombat one, or like in any big multiplayer games, like single player, whatever, any big releases. You could have like for all the releases that came out this year, let's say you had a Jedi Survivor one, or like a
to me, it's really no different than having like the PS5 plates. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I hope they go all out on this, and I hope they do one for every big Xbox release. I hope they go back and make like a Halo one, a Gears one, all these different things, and allow people to start a collection with these. God. Right? I would have shelves back here, and I would set up my other ones I'm not using, like Series X's, and just set them there on the shelves. And I'll put like a little disc light inside of it, so I have it shining. I'd I could think of so many reasons that this would be cool just to sit around the house too, like as decoration when you're not using
East Side
it.
Vandal.
I'm all in on this.
East Side Vandal. He said he got his girl a Starfield bra. She wears it when he's about to blast off or help her blast off.
Nice. Yeah. Is it a zero gravity bra?
This is a family show, East Side Vandal. How dare you? God Emperor Sofa King, he's talking about the trailer, the live action Starfield trailer. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. He says, the trailer reminded me of Halo Reach trailers. That's what I wanted to bring up. Okay, so people, especially lately, are constantly complaining, where's the marketing for Starfield? Where's the marketing for Starfield? Guess what? This is part of that marketing, and this is the kind of trailer that we all talk about Xbox not having. We talk about all the old trailers from back in the day, like the Reach trailers, that we don't get anymore. Well, we got that with this game, and it was amazing. So stop crying. We got some marketing going for the game. The trailer is awesome, and that's all you need. Yeah, we got the deep dive for all the gameplay. Like, they've showed way more than enough gameplay for me and for anybody. You want to see more gameplay, just rewatch the deep dive. There's tons of it there. But yeah, Gamescom 2023 overall was pretty good, I would say, just because they showed more of the games that we want to play. There is some incredible games coming. Lords of the Fallen is another game that they showed a little bit more of a new trailer. I can't wait for that game too. I want to play that game. Unfortunately, we're going to have to play these games in like 720p performance modes because, for some reason, these consoles just aren't stacking up. I don't know what it is. But Phil Spencer was at Gamescom, guys, and he was interviewed by IGN's Destin Legary, one of the interviews I saw from him. And within the interview, Phil let us know about certain things, and one of those things was mid-gen refreshes. And I've got a little video of that situation to play here. Let me know what you guys think about what he had to say here about mid-gen refreshes.
About some sort of mid-generation refresh for Xbox?
No. We did that. We're doing right now the increased storage on the Series S. The black one, yeah. That's what we actually call it, is the black. But
looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. It looks great. But no, like I said, we're kind of at the end of the beginning in my mind. So I think we need to let devs settle on this hardware and get the most out of it. But in terms of increased frame rate, increased resolution, I just look at what goes on PC with high-end GPUs, high-end CPUs. And it's not always just about pixel count or frame resolution. I think there's lighting techniques. There's a bunch of things that go into what makes a game look and feel great. And we have a ton of headroom as an industry there.
All right. So that right there, we heard Phil talking about. Is he saying there is absolutely no mid-gen refresh coming? Did he guarantee that? Or what do you get from what he said there? Because he's kind of talking around that whole question, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think he's just not saying anything really, other than he's not showing his cards, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't think it means that there won't be a mid-gen refresh. I think there's so much with this generation of stuff. When it first launched, all of the tools, we're 3 years into it, and it seems like none of the developers are using any of the tools. So I do agree with him that there's probably still a lot of headroom for these consoles to perform better, but it's just, if nobody takes advantage of that headroom, it's kind of useless. And I think that when we are hearing the rumors about the PS5 Pro, and the question there is that going to trigger Xbox to release the console that I'm sure that they have blueprinted or they're thinking about? I'm sure they have something in the works that they always have in the works, which is hardware that they're getting ready to release either for the next generation or maybe a mid-generation refresh. Whether it actually goes into production or not, that's a different question. But I'm sure if the PS5 Pro does come out, they're gonna look at how big of a difference that is from the Series X, and whether that this will be something that's worth competing against, or if it's really not going to make any difference, like we've kind of seen right now. The Series X is the more powerful console. It does beat the PS5 on many games, but we've seen the PS5 beat the Series X on many games. So really the power narrative it's just kind of a wash at this point. So I guess they'll take a look at what comes out on the market and whether they want to compete with that. I don't think that they'll release a Series X mid-gen right when the PS5 Pro comes out, but maybe a year or two later they'll put something out there that is more powerful to compete with it. So we'll see. But he's not going to say anything now about whether they have something in the works, obviously.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mav, do you think that they'll have a mid-gen refresh at all? I really don't believe so personally because of the whole Series S situation, but you never know. I have no idea what they're thinking.
I think it depends on what happens with the games the next couple of years as well. Like, if you keep seeing games release at 30 frames and you keep seeing games with like not being able to have a high resolution and all that kind of stuff as well, I think at some point they will take a look at it. Now, if they put all the faith in the devs to actually take advantage of everything, I don't know if that's going to get you very far. For me, it's kind of like raw horsepower at this point wins the race because all the
Yeah.
tools that have been selling points over the last several years, even Unreal Engine 5, all these talking points. Oh, nanite and all these different things. Yes, oh, it's going to be amazing. And then we just finally started having Unreal 5 games release, and a lot of them are running natively at like 720p,
Yeah.
upscaled to 4K to be able to achieve 60 frames, right? So there's a lot of aspects to this where I don't think they're ready to say anything yet, and they may not have a concrete plan. But I don't think you can just write it off based
Yeah.
on these comments,
Well,
because he's asked, I think, do you have anything to say about next mid-gen refreshes or anything? He's like, no, I don't have anything to say about it. So I feel like a couple years from now, there's a possibility. Who knows if the devs do start taking advantage of all these tools and all these different things, right? And the games start releasing more consistently at high frame rates and all these things, I think then it'd be less likely. But you got to also look back at past comments from Phil where he was like, they'd never wanted to lose the power narrative again, right? And if a
Yeah.
PS5 Pro comes out and they're able to do a lot of third-party multi-platform games at higher resolution and higher frame rates than are releasing on Xbox, that's going to spell potential problems for the console and the Xbox ecosystem, especially if the PS5 Pro at that point is able to be at a reasonable price point. So for me, it comes down to a couple things: price, how much would cost Xbox, what they price point they'd be able to be at. I don't think they have any interest in releasing a $800 console, right? So the pricing and everything has to be in regard to where they're not going to lose their ass on it, but they're
For
still
sure.
going to be able to have it to where it's going to be obtainable by enough people to make it worth producing. And once they are confident in that, and they are confident that the developers and that they have, at least for first party, you're going to be taking advantage of it and going to be able to do free updates and all these kind of things, then at that point, I think we can maybe look at it. But I think more or less, you're probably like 3 years away at most. And if this is a longer generation, then that would make more sense because then at that point you'd be a few years away still from the next gen.
Kenta Williams, or Wilson, sorry, in the chat says, nobody cares. People just want games. I see that sentiment a lot. I see people talk about that and say, well, people really don't care about this whole power narrative. Most gamers just like, want to play the games. But I disagree. I think there's a lot of us who are kind of bummed at playing certain games at 720p. It doesn't look good, quite frankly. It's blurry. It's not what we were sold. Let's just say. And it's interesting because I watched that clip and I watched this whole interview with Destin, and I have to say Destin did a really excellent job in this interview. I really liked his questioning because right after that, he asked him this.
The Baldur's Gate 3 team brought up some issues with Xbox Series S and split screen getting it to work properly. I know the Forts team announced that it won't launch with split screen, I believe.
Local split screen. Yeah, split screen. Yeah.
Local split screen. So
or even online split screen. Yeah.
Is there some future where you allow developers just to launch on the Series X versus S? Because there's the parity clause right now, and I'm curious, will that ever be loosened up a bit?
I want to decouple these issues a little bit.
Yeah.
The decision to do split screen or not is a creative decision, a dev decision. So if we think about like Forza, it has nothing to do with any kind of hardware thing on
Okay.
S and X, just where they wanted to focus.
Hold on. I got to pause it there. He says whether or not they want to do split screen. It's based solely on the developers, right? And he's right. He's right there.
Forza, yeah.
But
especially.
when he's talking about it has nothing to do with hardware, I don't think he's telling the truth.
For Forza,
When he's kind of he's kind of blaming the developers for choosing to go at split screen or to implement split screen rather than blame the hardware or state that maybe it would just take too much time on that hardware to try to implement split screen. I don't know.
For me,
I
I
feel
think
it's
it's the
weird.
opposite because he's more or less talking about Forza, which they have control over, right? For me right here, I take it as the opposite of like it, and he'll continue to make the comment.
But this
in this
discussion
interview.
is about split screen and Baldur's Gate.
But he also,
Yeah.
Dustin also mentioned Forza, right? So
Yeah.
Phil's discussing Forza more so or less right here, and his comments about this going forward is like they put the resources where the players play. Hence, saying the split screen not at launch for Forza was a resource decision of development for Turn 10, not a hardware issue.
Well,
is
let me
kind of
ask
what
you
I
this, Mav.
take it.
Will it be
Yeah.
there at all?
Split screen for Forza?
Yeah.
I would say so because of
Because
the
remember, you
developers-
have to remember we can go back to Halo Infinite.
Yeah,
Right.
Halo though I think slightly different. Just because I agree that Halo's the issue, but they're also trying to get that on the Xbox One that they had to release parity across every platform.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something with Halo Infinite that brought it down. Which I mean, they
The
could have
other-
maybe if they didn't have to do it on the One, we could have got split screen on the S and the X.
The other aspect of this is if you talk to a lot of Forza players that have tried split screen before, which a lot of people didn't even know it had split screen. But like Fuzzy, who does a lot of stuff with us, like he's a diehard Forza and Gran Turismo player as well. But it's like he says a split screen mode in Forza 7 is just complete garbage, right? Like it's just bad. Like the game looks bad.
We'll get into more of this discussion. We'll listen to what he has to say here. He goes on.
Their time. We obviously see the data in terms of how many people play local co-op for games. I love local co-op. Shout out to Vampire Survivors that just launched it. Fantastic. But there's also just let's go where the play is in terms of where we're going to focus our dev resources. In terms of the two platforms, I want games to launch on both platforms. There are feature differences between the platforms. We have an ability to kind of handle that and how it works. Where teams are going to choose to focus their time and their effort is up to them. We're here to support them and what they want to go do. We want to make sure that games, when they're launching on competitive platforms, are also launching on Xbox. So we're going to learn from this experience as well, because we don't love that. But I don't think it's something that's like a fatal flaw in the system. It's partners prioritizing their time, us listening and being a good partner to them. And you see some amazing games doing great work across S and X. Diablo looks great, Starfield looks great, Forza looks great across both. And you know, we think, I want to make sure console gaming is accessible to more people, and we think the price point of the console is a pretty important part of that.
Yeah, I love the Series S, but there's been that conversation going around, so I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair question. I will say that I think some of the discussion in the community has maybe not come from us or the devs. It's been more the community building, well, this happened, and then that happened, and then so it must be about this. And I think we can do more to add clarity to actually where we are, and I look forward to doing that.
So you threw like 300 devs out to Larian to help them get Baldur's Gate on Xbox?
300.
It wasn't 300, but absolutely.
400, wow.
No, it's a great game. They're an important partner. I'm meeting with them here at Gamescom. Like it's
really?
A game I want to see on the platform, and we have resources that helped in terms of making sure it's going to sit. I think they've said it's going to ship by the end of the year. I think that's their words.
Yeah.
In terms of what they've said. But like we should together come up with clarity to set some expectations for Xbox fans, and I look forward to doing that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So he sits there and he says all that, and he says, "Oh, we're going to meet with Larian. You know, I'm going to meet with them here at Gamescom," and they do. And the very next day after this, after he states that it's not really a hardware issue, it's more of a dev issue where they want to spend time on. Now, people get this twisted. It's not a feature. Split screen is not a feature. That's a game mode. That's a game mode. Features can be omitted from the Series S. Game modes cannot. By Xbox's own policies. Their parity policy states that game modes are to be intact on both consoles. So the very next day, we see this. Super happy to confirm that after meeting Phil Spencer yesterday, we found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year still. Something we've been working towards for quite some time. All improvements will be there with split screen co-op on the Series X. The Series S will not feature split screen co-op, but will also include cross-save progression between Steam and Xbox Series consoles. So, yeah, total kind of 180 from what we kind of heard from Phil there. In my opinion, that's the way I see it.
I think he had already had the discussions with Larian about this.
I think so too.
So like what happened? So you see him in the interview, and this is a timeline thing, right? He said, "I think they have announced already they're doing this year." They hadn't announced that yet.
No,
right?
they
He
didn't.
just didn't know they hadn't made the announcement. So he said that. Then they proceed. He continues to proceed to have the meeting with Larian. They bend the rule on the parity feature for Series S, which I think all of us wanted them to do. Because not getting this game on Xbox because of that stupid rule was a huge L for Xbox because of one mode that hardly anybody is ever going to play in this style of game.
Mav, I look, here's kind of my take. I'm conflicted here. On one hand, I think it was the right move to get the game out this year for Xbox. But on the other, if I have to put my consumer hat on, I don't, because I don't care about split screen co-op myself, but I don't speak for every gamer out there, right? And I know there's data showing that very little people use split screen local co-op, but again, we don't represent every gamer out there. I don't even represent the Series S owner, even though I bought one for my son. I don't play it. I play the Series X, so I don't care. But if I put my consumer hat on, I have questions. Is this a one-off, or is this something that will happen continuously where split screen just can't be done on the Series S because of memory limitations, I guess? Or can there be other game modes affected in the future? And if so, then the whole parity thing just flies out the window. Him omitting the split screen just throws away that parity clause. Like, it's weird. And that's where I conflict here as a consumer and as a gamer. Like, I'm fine with it.
I think people are like a little bit overreaching on the bending the rules for one instance for special situation, as like every game coming out in the future may not have modes on Series S, right? And I've seen some of the big media kind of run with that.
I'm just asking. Like, I don't know. We don't know.
I get you. And like, I understand that, okay, yes, there was going to be a reaction when they did this, right? But you have to understand, like, this game and everything it is and everything it's doing, and then split screen co-op in this is a big task, right? It is a massive game to have split screen, everybody go in their own directions and all that kind of stuff on the same piece of hardware. If you have a Series S and you paid less money for that, and this one mode they're having trouble getting it there. They didn't say they can never do it. They also came out and said they may come later in a post-launch update, right? Again, that leads to the whole resources and time and development and what you put forth as far as making decisions and priorities and all that kind of stuff within development. At the same time, Larian decided when they're launching this game without that mode finished on Series S. So at that point, it puts Xbox in a spot. Is PlayStation getting this exclusive right now by the sake of the Series S for this year, when it's a potential Game of the Year candidate, or do we wait and launch or let them launch it later, or do we go and just make this one exception to the rule and bend it like many of us have been asking them to, just to not allow them to go ahead and launch and potentially release that as an update later for the Series S? And I think it was the right move, because as Xbox, you got to look at it. PlayStation would be a Game of the Year candidate on their system by default as an exclusive for this year, purely for the sake that the devs weren't able to get Series S running split screen yet.
I get the business side of it, but as a consumer, again, I put my consumer hat on. I don't care about that side, right? I look at it like, okay, Plume, let me ask you this. Do you see this as a form of admission, at least in this situation, that there was an issue with the Series S performance capabilities here for split screen?
I think it's a form of admission that they didn't want it to go all the way to 2024 to get it running on the Series S. They wanted to get this game out this year for Xbox customers. So I think it is more of that, because there are, I think Larian, they came out and they said it, and I actually believe Larian when they say the reason why it's not there is because they just didn't put enough resources to get it working on that platform. They're not the biggest dev in the world, right? They're, I think, like 400 devs or something. And they look at the numbers, they see where people are playing, and split screen on Xbox probably is a very small percentage. So they just didn't give enough resources to get this at launch. So, and then I look at, like, if you just Google like split screen games running on the Xbox Series XS, there's a large list. This obviously can be done on the Xbox Series S. There are some good looking games that have split screen. So I think at the end of the day, it's the resources, the time that the devs want to put into getting it. And it potentially is just a slightly more difficult process than other stuff that they're doing when creating these games.
Well,
but
that's interesting.
Looks at this.
That's interesting you say that, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to pause you there, because if that is the case, and you're basically stating that the Series S does cause more development time, this 2 SKU option that they went with is causing developers to have to put more effort into the game. It's not about talking about lazy. Yeah. It's not talking about lazy devs, people. I don't want to put that out there. I'm not saying they're lazy, especially with a studio like Larian. They are not lazy, but it does cause them more time, like an effort to be putting in this stuff. And Plume, one more question I really wanted to ask you though is, do you think that there's such a thing as an expectation of a product that consumers should have, especially after being told just what types of expectations to have with said product? Like at the beginning of this generation, we were told that, hey, there may be features that might be omitted on the Series S, but game modes will be there intact. So
yeah,
that's why I said I'm conflicted, people. It's not like I'm not coming with pitchforks at Phil Spencer. I'm just asking questions from the consumer standpoint.
I mean, absolutely. I completely understand if people are annoyed that it's missing. There definitely should be an expectation. If you're told one thing, you should expect that you shouldn't be okay with getting something else. But I mean, like, but I'm kind of hypocritical on that, because with something like Forza, with something like Baldur's Gate, I honestly couldn't care less that there's no split screen co-op, because I'm never going to utilize that feature. And I would rather play the game earlier and have it come out in 2023 than wait for them to give us split screen on the Series S. But if someone tells me they're mad that there's no split screen, I'm not going to say that they're an idiot. I mean, of course, if they told you it was going to be there, you should expect it to be there.
And especially if you actually use the split screen, then I totally get you. But for me, I would be lying if I was up here outraged about no split screen on the Series S, because I truly don't care personally. But again, I'm just putting that consumer hat on and going, well, is it right? Can we be guaranteed that future other game modes in the future won't be omitted from the Series S? Because when you talk about, and I've seen people do this, and unfortunately, I was listening to the Iron Lords today, and King David, he put it out there and he said, look, all you Series S owners, you went cheap. You need to spend more and get this Series X if you want that premium play. And I'm just like, that's not the route to take, really, because you're basically belittling people out there that might not be able to afford the Series X. Like, a lot of people bought into the Series S because they were sold a certain product. Hey, this is going to be playing the same games, the same game modes. Don't worry about it. It's great. And that's where, I'm conflicted. I understand both sides of the argument, believe me, because
I think right now there's too much. There's a little bit I've seen some of the big media go after. That's why I'm coming at this as hard as I am, Fonz, because I've seen some of the big media just go over the top with this thing here. Like,
because we know a lot of the media is, there's a lot of fanboys in the media. A lot of fanboys.
I mean, they're pointing documents, showing proof, and is this a concern? I even heard the IGN call it Xbox Series sus, right? So, like, all of these different aspects, it's like, this is a one-off. Right now, this is the first game that there's been any kind of little exception made. It's for a small niche mode that hardly anybody is going to play. And if this was not an issue, hardly anybody would even know it existed in this game, because the kind of game it is, nobody plays split screen anyway. It's only platform it's released on right now is PC, which has split screen. But who plays split screen on PC?
Nobody.
I am not going to have somebody sitting next to me and be like, your turn, bro. Let's go.
Can you imagine playing on like a 24-inch monitor, like you're side by side sitting there? Like, nobody on PC does that.
It doesn't happen. And even on this kind of game, I understand the reasoning why they want it there, because they're trying to stay true to the D&D roots of like tabletop style gaming, and they're trying to kind of bring that experience, and that's why they want it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, this affects so few people. It's not, and people are looking at the Halo Infinite releasing unfinished games and all that kind of stuff. Halo was missing online co-op. It was missing split screen. It was missing Forge. I mean, that was a little bit of a different situation here, as opposed to like one mode that's going to be potentially delayed as on one of the consoles in order to get this game out this year for millions of other people that could care less on that mode, right?
Jax 82, thank you for the super chat. He says Phil can't afford games missing the platform. You're right. That's the business side of it, right? And I see that, but again,
it's a consumer side. Most consumers are celebrating this.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I think most people don't. I agree with you. Most people don't care about split screen. I think the data shows that.
We had Colt when you had Colt on with me like a month ago, right, Fonz?
Yeah.
Like, Colt was there literally asking Xbox to do this, right?
Yeah, I know.
And so has so many other creators, and they went and did it, and now they're getting backlash because they made the exception.
But how far is too far? What if there's another mode that goes? Like, we'll see. We'll have to see. Like, I don't want to jump the boat and say this is what's going to happen from here on out, because we don't have any proof of that. But
exactly, yeah.
That's the thing too, the Series S. It's anytime there is like such a small thing that is negative about it, it just gets blown up so much because it's that easy target. It's the less powerful console. It's still holding back generation. But I mean, the console's been out for 3 years. It's $300, and there's so many more positive cases for paying that much for the output we're getting from the Xbox Series S, playing these AAA games, some games getting up to 120 FPS for like first person shooters and stuff. So there's so many positive things about the Series S that rarely gets talked about and celebrated compared to whenever there's anything negative. That's, again, such a small thing overall in the amount of people that are going to utilize a feature like the split screen co-op.
Spartan661, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. He says the Series X is the most powerful, but the PlayStation is more noticeable around the world. All the devs port their games to Xbox and not the other way around. I'm not sure how true that is, but I know a lot of the games that's what happens. Is the PS5 is the primary platform. They may target and then port out from there. I don't know if you guys heard any different, but I've seen that. Like,
I mean, 3-Bit talks a lot about this, and from his perspective, working with third parties in the development side, that a lot of them, the lead platform on console is PlayStation, and then they'll port their games over later. Even a lot of games that are marketed by Xbox or have Xbox marketing deals. Hence, that's also why you see a lot of review copies get sent out for PlayStation copies, even if it's an Xbox marketed game and stuff. Like, and plus a lot of the reviewers are PlayStation guys anyway. So Yeah, it's really strange, but hopefully eventually that changes.
Yeah, no. Hopefully it does. Hopefully they don't continue to omit game modes. Like features. I understand there's certain features that just aren't the Series S isn't capable of doing. That the Series X can, and people understand that. There's scaling going on there, just like with the PC world. If you have a 4090 opposed to say 1060 Ti, you're going to be playing it different with different features, basically. So, yeah, it is what it is. But let's go on. Let's move on. Let's talk about something that is amazing here, and that's the fact that we're all we can all get one if we want. But it's the PlayStation Portable, guys. Look at that. It's amazing, right? Looks awesome. Looks like somebody shoved a tablet in between the DualSense controller. That's what it looks like.
It's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's exactly what they did. Now, the PlayStation Portable is a handheld gaming device with a 1080p 8-inch screen. So 1080p is the resolution. And it's got the DualSense there. It's got all the DualSense features. It's even got these lights going down the side of it and everything. And it sounds really cool, right, guys? Wrong. It's not really cool, because when you look deeper into this thing, it's basically just, it's a remote play device, right? You just get to play your PlayStation 5 games remotely from the PlayStation 5 over the same Wi-Fi, right? It's within your home. You have to have the PlayStation 5 there to play the games, and you can just remote play on this thing, and it's $199.
They did confirm you can, if you have a good Wi-Fi connection, connect to be outside of your house. But like, besides that, I mean, it's a Wii U gamepad, pretty much.
Pretty much. And you know what the worst part about it is, Mav? The fact that they decided to omit. Now, we're talking about omitting split screen on something, right? They omitted Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Why would you not have Bluetooth connectivity on a handheld device? Like, I'll tell you why. It's because of those new earbuds and headphones that they're coming out with. They want to do their own proprietary thing, this Link thing, this PlayStation Link, they're calling it. Instead of Bluetooth, you're going to be able to link your brand new PlayStation headphones or PlayStation earbuds to the device. That's what they want you to do. They want you to spend more PlayStation money. That's what they want.
It just sounds like a bad idea to do that. If you think of like the history of when PlayStation has done their own proprietary stuff that you have to buy, how quickly they fail, like the PS Vita with their proprietary memory cards, that didn't work out. They're forcing people to have PlayStation headsets not having Bluetooth. I'm sure it's going to turn off a lot of people because they're not going to want to go out and buy a brand new pair of earbuds that are probably, or not, I should say probably, but may not be as good as the ones that they have. So it doesn't really make sense. The device itself, again, it's just like Mav said, it's a Wii U gamepad for $200. And before they announced the price, I thought that if they came in at $200 and lower, it's going to sell. People will buy it. And I still think that people will buy this thing because it's just a PlayStation accessory and people will pick it up for that. But yeah, it's kind of a useless device for me.
Bluetooth can't be that expensive to add to a device. I mean, this was obviously about selling their own proprietary earbuds and stuff.
Yeah, it has to be.
Mav, what do you think about this thing, man?
It's like ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous too. It's one of the ugliest handhelds I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that. It is.
It's just ugly. It's nasty. It's like, it's a cash grab. It looks stupid. The idea is stupid. The price is stupid. The functionality is stupid.
I like Matt. It's stupid. Everything is stupid. Everything about this thing is just stupid. It's funny.
It almost feels like it's an attempt from the hardware team at PlayStation to make back some of the money they're losing on PSVR. I don't understand why the thing exists. Like, if you're going to release another handheld, do it, right? Just release another handheld. This thing is pointless. Like, unless you're taking a shit or something and you just really got to keep playing your game, like, why is this thing? You know what else can do the exact same thing? Something we all already own and have in our house right now that has way
Yeah.
more functionality. Go get a backbone or go get a Kishi. Put it on your phone and you can do the same thing plus more. I don't understand who would pay $200 for this. And guess what else your phone has? Bluetooth. Even the Switch added Bluetooth. Like, come on. Like, why? Why
Yeah.
is this stupid thing even?
They took a playbook out of Apple. You know, they took a play out of Apple's playbook. That's what they did. Apple does this sort of thing with
This was some
proprietary
moronic guy in the hardware
stuff.
team at PlayStation. Eureka! I've got a great idea, and nobody had the guts to tell him we can't do that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
They just ran with it, and it actually exists.
It has to be a test for something. That's all. Like, I'm trying to think of like a reason why they would put this up, because they're trying to get more into cloud gaming. They've talked about how they're going to try to grow their cloud going forward, and you can't even access the PS
you
Plus
can't.
premium
Cloud
stuff. So maybe they're just testing out to see how many people would be interested in some sort of handheld device where
But see,
they'll release like a cloud one later. I don't know.
But what a failure that is to release a remote play device as your first big handheld in years. You know, like they of all people should know they've already had previous devices that were a lot better than this that failed. PSP, PS Vita.
Yeah, and like
And
I
they
said,
only
with the Vita
failed-
was because
Yeah, go ahead. Say it.
it was because of the proprietary stuff, which they're
Yep.
throwing in here with this device.
Yeah. No, and with the Vita, it's because it was a lack of support. That is the whole reason why the Vita and the PSP failed.
Yeah.
So it's funny that they're trying this again, but with a remote device. It's weird.
It must have been very cheap to.
And the worst thing, it doesn't even look cool. Like, it
No,
just looks horrible. Like, at least if you're gonna design a stupid piece of hardware, at least make it look good, so I don't realize it's stupid when I'm holding it.
Look at
Okay,
that.
like,
No, but it's on
horrible.
brand with the PS5 though. So, in terms of like it not looking good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Xbox has Starfield. We bring you PlayStation Portal. Play all your games remotely from the toilet seat. Have fun playing while your wife watches something on the TV. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah,
these things are gonna break like crazy. You hold that, you put a little bit too much pressure on the bottom ends with your palms. It's gonna snap like a twig, man. I don't know. It's
What's going to happen is people are going to mod it, and it's going to become way better than it actually is out of the box. So I think it's going to happen.
That depends on what kind of hardware is within it. If you can even
true.
mod it, I don't know. Like this, you may literally need the PlayStation 5 to even do anything with it. So
I believe it's Android based, but I could be wrong. Based off of those leaks where the guy had Android running on it, but that could be false. I don't know.
Could be fake.
Don't quote me on that. Yeah.
Could be fake, but in any case, I just thought it was just an odd thing. Now, we can get back into something a little bit better here. Starfield, guys. The Starfield hype is real. We've been talking about it all show, really on and off. And many people had stuff to say on it. Let me get to some of these super chats, by the way, because I got a few here. Sith Lord, thank you very much for the $2 super chat here. He says, Fonz, please get me hype for Starfield one last time. Yes, we are about to do that. It's going to be very cool to talk about here. Got one here from Swaggy C. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. He says, Fonz, get us hype for Starfield. God voice, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. Hargeet Shiny celebrating 22 months of membership. He says Starfield, he says August 13th, 5 p.m. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is interesting. So that's a lot earlier than I thought. Dang. Well, I guess that's when Starfield launches for early access, guys. So 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Starfield is selling more than Spider-Man 2 on Amazon. Top seller on Steam. Hype is real. Let's go. Dang, that's pretty huge, Plume. It's selling more than Spider-Man right now on Amazon.
I don't know. It's crazy.
That is pretty
For-
telling.
For a massive IP that everyone knows already,
Yeah.
and Starfield's coming out here and beating it. That's huge.
How is it doing that when there was absolutely no marketing and people didn't know about this game at all? Mav, they don't know about Starfield.
Yeah, remember when everybody told us that they needed 3 months of marketing?
Yeah, what
so-
happened?
Yeah, I remember saying this back then as like people's argument because we had the Marchers thing going and we thought it was possible.
Oh, I remember that.
And everyone's like, "Oh, they can't because they need 3 strong months of heavy marketing." And we're like, what game does that? Like, I don't understand. Like, where does that exist, right? And we've seen this immense hype lead up, and then we've had like a 3-week lead up of heavy marketing for Starfield, and it's the hype is overwhelming. It's like number 1 on everything right now. Xbox consoles are selling like 10 times the amount they were before on Amazon as well, and all this kind of stuff. So it's like the hype and the marketing is there. Like there's so much hype for this game, and people forgot about Bethesda, right? People forgot.
Dude, that's
about,
what I've been saying. Like, people don't remember the juggernauts that Bethesda. You know what it is? If Fallout 76 like just fogged everybody's brain. This
yeah.
game tarnished so much, and it's funny for me. It didn't because I say this all the time, but when that was announced as a multiplayer game, I didn't care for it. I was like, okay, you guys can play that Fallout game. I'll wait for the next single player RPG. And this
it's
is
different teams too, different whole concept of the game, everything. It wasn't one of the pillars. It wasn't a traditional Fallout release, a traditional Elder Scrolls release, a new single player story based RPG from the gods of doing it, and that's Bethesda, right? And now that we are getting closer, and we've seen after the Starfield Direct and all this stuff, I think the Starfield Direct is what really got the mainstream as like to start paying attention. Like, oh, I get it now. This is Bethesda, the same people that made these other games that were amazing back then. And now it kind of caught on with the massive hype train after that, and we keep seeing more and more stuff with the lead up, and there's not a lot of negatives out there right now. This is just going to be a huge release. It's no surprise that it's beating Spider-Man on Amazon also because the game is releasing in numerous places, right? It's on PC, it's on Xbox. This is going to be drive a lot of Game Pass subs for them as well.
Yep.
It's just going to be massive, dude.
Dolonite in the chat. He said the next argument will be the game should launch at 7:59, not 8. Yeah, that's how ridiculous some of these arguments get. Cerebral Assassin, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I guess I was blessed for Starfield. I fell from work last Sunday and broke my foot in 3 different places, and now I'm off for 3 weeks. Look, I'm glad you're happy about that. I hope you heal fast, but at the same time, enjoy your time with the game. Just prop that foot up, elevate the foot, man, elevate it.
He did it on purpose. He took a hammer to it. Admit it.
Can you imagine somebody just like destroying their foot just so they can stay off for Starfield so they don't have to go to work?
Not a bad idea.
Hilarious. Randall Thor 19. It reminds me of a story I'll tell in a second. Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. I got it somewhere here.
The man with the million.
Super chats, $10. Thank you very much, Rand. You didn't have to do that. He said, Fonz, on his birthday, by the way, guys, happy birthday to Rand. Hit him up. He says, let's say it one more time, Starfield. And we did that, sir. We said Starfield. But let's hit your tagline one more time.
The man with the million.
Because you are awesome, brother. I appreciate you. He's a great friend, man. That guy's awesome. Web Dave, thank you. And another awesome guy. Thank you for the $2 super chat here. He says, Fonz, Mav, Plume, what will Starfield score be? What do you think? What do you think? Plume, I'll go with you first.
Like the meta?
Yeah, let's just go with the meta. And I really don't care about the meta. I'm not putting stock into it, but I'll give you what I think it'll score.
I'm thinking 9.4.
Oh, a 94.
94. Yeah, 94. I don't know why I said
Wow.
9.4. 94.
What about you?
He stole my answer. I've been saying that 94, and I would say 97 right? But there will be a couple of those like 80s, right? But this is going to be a heavily reviewed game. Like it's going to be so many reviews out there. So I feel like it's going to be in the mid 90s somewhere, between 90,
Yeah.
between 92 and 96. That's what I'm going 94.
All right. I'm going to go very conservative then. I'm going with 90. And that's because there's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of haters, even in the journalism world, the gaming journalism world. Unfortunately, there's a lot of haters, but there's going to be a lot of people that love the game because it's truly going to be a special game to play, and that's why I think it's still going to be at least a 90. I think it's going to hit 90. I don't think it's going to get below that. I really don't. Everything I've heard so far about the game, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I haven't even been spoiled really because I ask the questions of people that I know. Anyways, I'm not going to say anything, but things I've heard, it's good. It's freaking it to me. It's good. Like it speaks to me as a Bethesda fan. Hear me out. As a Bethesda single player RPG gamer, loving Fallout, Elder Scrolls, all those games. It speaks to me. Trust me, people. It speaks to me. Spartan661, thank you for the super chat. He says, can my wife play the PlayStation 5 while I'm on the so-called toilet playing another game on the queue? He means the Portal. No, I don't think you can. I think you need to access the PlayStation 5 and have the game booted up. I think that's how it works. Because isn't that how remote play works now? If you use your phone.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can use your Xbox at the same time. I don't know. You guys, have you tried that?
I believe you have to be logged in. So you have to log into your account on Xbox. You're logged into your account. So for PlayStation, I'm assuming it's the same.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's just like copying the screen from your Xbox, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what it seems like.
So it's just
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think you'll be able to do that. Mark from the Just Gaming podcast, thank you very much for the $5 super. He says, hey, bud, Starfield is going to be great. Should run like a minx on the S. Okay, he's talking there. Look, it's going to run just fine on the S, all right? Maybe those boundaries will be a little bit closer. And let's just talk about that a little bit because there was some controversy a little bit out there about Starfield. People talking about these boundaries, guys. So apparently when you get to these planets and you run around, you can run so far out to where you will come in contact with a boundary limit. So basically you are limited in the areas you can actually go past, or you can't go past certain areas. So, Plume, actually, no, I'll go to you, Mav, because you said you heard more about this, I believe.
Yeah, I've been seeing it since last night.
Yeah. So what have you heard concerning these boundaries? Because you heard a little bit last night. Some people were telling you that it takes about half an hour to walk to these boundaries. And then you saw a video today of one of the planets anyways, where he got to the boundary in 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was sprinting and jumping. It took 10 minutes, full sprint. That kind of spread around social media today. I heard last night, I heard that a leaker had said 30 minutes, and then other people have been saying around an hour or whatever. So there's a bunch of mixed information about it, but the one piece of video evidence that was out there said it took 10 minutes from like landing spot, full sprint to get to the boundary.
Was that on the Series S, sir?
I have no idea.
I'm just kidding.
What it was
I'm just
on.
kidding.
I have no idea.
Here's the thing. Were you ever expecting, Plume, I'll ask you this question. Were you ever expecting to be able to land on a planet and run all the way around that planet completely?
I would no, because I didn't ever think I was going to be really doing that, like just running straight around the planet. I was thinking you land on a planet and you're just kind of exploring in a large area. You're not going to be running in a straight line back and forth to do whatever you're doing on that planet. So I didn't really ever think that I never thought about that. And I honestly don't think that's a big deal because again, who's going to be doing that? There's probably so much you can do that isn't running in a straight line. You're not going to care about a boundary that you are run into whenever that you do. And also the one thing I saw I saw a claim for 40 minutes, saw a claim for 10 minutes and all that type of stuff. Are these different depending on like the planet that's been procedurally generated?
Yeah,
Some are
that's
bigger
what
than
I'm
others,
considering.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's also like different if you leave and come back to a specific area because of procedural generation as well. But there's like also a lot of unanswered questions about that. Bottom line is there's a lot of this game that we won't know and have these answers until we play the game. For me, this changes in no way how I was going to play the game, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm on a planet, what Todd said in the direct is like most of you are going to be landing and exploring an area around where you land, right? So there's points that are already set up that you can land, right? To choose from, and then you can also choose to land wherever you want as well. So if you want to explore the whole planet, you can still do that. You just are going to be hopping point to point and exploring around those places, right? What I have questions on is like if you set up a base and if you come back later, will it be the same, right? Around the same surroundings,
It should.
right? So that's what I don't know, and we'll see. But besides that,
well,
I don't
in
know,
that
man.
case, because it's procedural, some of these planets. So
right.
on those specific planets, if you decide to build a base, what would it do? That's interesting. Maybe they won't allow you to build on those procedural planets. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because I hope you can, but at the end of the day, like there's so much unanswered here, and for the stuff that comes out about they're lying to us or oh my god this and that, it's like jumping to a little too much now. Like I think a lot of this came from the backlash came from because Pete Hines in an interview had said the other day, like when somebody asked, can I walk the entire planet, he's like, keep walking or whatever. But he also said in the same interview he doesn't know everything you can and can't do in Starfield because he just hasn't tested things.
Pete Hines is also the guy that stated he's already played hundreds of hours of this game.
But he was also asked the question about can you fly from planet to planet like straight, and he said he didn't know because he hadn't tested it yet. But there's probably boundaries around the planets for flying. There's probably boundaries when you land. There's gonna be boundaries for how far you could walk away. Because at the end of the day, this game is way more ambitious and does a lot of different things than no other game's done before. And hardware limitations there's just what they are. Like
I don't know what it would,
whether it's on PC or console or anything.
Yeah. But even if you take the most badass PC out there, right, and you got the hardcore rig, there's got to be some limitations to these games. Whereas like walking around an entire planet, it just seems kind of outlandish.
It seems a little mundane and boring too.
Well, no, I'm not even going to excuse it for that. I'm just saying, like, hardware wise, I don't think we have the capabilities of making games to where we can literally do that in a game, walk around an entire planet.
Yeah.
That seems huge.
Is this going to change any of us the way we're going to play the game?
No, I never even gave that a second thought. Like, I never thought about that initially.
No one's going to do this. We're going to see all of this like after the release as well, where you're going to see all these people like zooming in on some pixels and saying, look how bad this pixel is. This means the game sucks. It's just another one of those things, people trying to destroy hype for the game just because it gets them traction and stuff. But this is the first time I thought about this when people were posting this on, and I'm like, well, why would I run in a straight line for 40 minutes anyways? It's just a waste of time. So,
and somebody in my chat said, oh, you guys are talking about spoilers and leaks. I don't consider this a spoiler or leak. This is just this is something that was just put out there.
It's a technical thing of like kind of
it's
potential limitation.
I definitely look. I've heard certain things about the game that some of you would consider leaks. To me, not so much, but I won't even tell you those things because there's no, like, I don't want to spoil it for people. I don't want to be spoiled.
To put in perspective as well, Fonz, like that's a pretty damn big area anyway. Like,
remember when people
have like tons of those on one planet, running in a straight line, sprinting, even if it's only 10 minutes, like you do that in every direction, right? That's a big ass area that you can explore.
People
So-
complained, and I told you this before the show, people complained about Red Dead Redemption 2 and having to walk 10 minutes or ride a horse 10 minutes. Like, just stop. Like, seriously, people, like, relax. It's a video game, number one, at the end of the day. But number two, the game is still going to be incredible. Land where you want, explore, have a blast, get in contact with, NPCs, get missions. This is typical Bethesda RPG stuff that we all know and love. We're going to have a blast with this. Now, Bethesda has confirmed that there is no level caps for our characters in the game. That's pretty cool, right, Plume?
Yeah, that's awesome. You're going to be just playing this forever, and you're going to have continuous skills, or I guess like
Get
continuous
as strong
upgrading
as
of your
you
character.
want. Yeah.
As strong as you want. And like, I brings me back to when we saw the guy in the game in the deep dive one punching everybody, like just running around. Like how many hours is that going to take, and how powerful? How long does it take for me to get my guy as powerful as that? So yeah, that's awesome. It makes this an endless adventure at the end of the day, which is the biggest reason I'm so excited for it. That's something we're going to be playing forever, talking about forever. Everyone's going to have a different experience. Everyone's going to be saying, "Did you see this? You see that?" Like years down the road.
Yeah, Phil Spencer and even Pete Hines, they're saying that this game, they can see people honestly playing this game the next 10 years, and they've got content coming for this. And I saw an article, shout out to, who was it? Boba Fett Gaming. Boba Fett, my good friend. He sent me this article, and it was talking about Starfield's Shattered Space DLC, that it may be in a rough spot. And this whole article, it just made me kind of chuckle because it was about basically having too much already on their plate with the main game. Like they're literally saying there's so much to do here that they could see them playing this game for years, that DLC is like a non-issue right now. And I'm thinking, and it goes back to what I've talked about with you so many times, Plume, on this show, is great. There's more stuff for me to do if I choose to do it. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that aspect.
Yeah, it's like that when they announced 1,000 planets and people were complaining about, 1,000 planets, but you don't have to go to 1,000 planets, just like you don't have to run in a straight line when you drop on a planet to get to the boundary. So it's really just a game of choice, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And the way it works too, I think you're just going to be able to like go to your mini map and just choose another region, right? If you want to explore another region, I don't think you have to do a bunch of like other stuff, right? You're just going to go to the map and select another place, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah. And I've got another super chat. Thank you very much, Mark. He says, spoiler alert, you will be in space doing space things. Guys, I'm sorry to tell you that. Sorry to read that aloud, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. How excited are you for this game on a scale of 1 to 10, Mav?
10's not high enough, bro. Is there another scale you can think of?
I'm the same way.
I haven't been really this excited for a game since. I mean, I was really excited for Halo Infinite's launch, but this is way beats that because we had been getting Halo games somewhat consistently and stuff like that. So, but this is on another level because this is not just a game I've been waiting for since the last year or two. I've been waiting for this game since Todd Howard said its name back in like 2018 or whenever it was. And before that, I was hoping they would make this game because I remember listening to Todd Howard interviews a long time ago where he talked about wanting to have the 3 pillars, right? Space would be the third pillar on top of a post-apocalyptic and fantasy. And he had talked about wanting to be able to hopefully make there's a space game one day, and it came down to finally they're able to do it. They talked about technology finally getting to the place where they can do it and all this kind of stuff. So I've been wanting and hoping for a Bethesda space RPG ever since I played Oblivion for the first time. Like I played the game.
One of the best.
It would be amazing if they made a Bethesda could do like a space game, and then they make Skyrim and they make Fallout 3 and make Fallout 4 and all these great games. And I'm thinking, man, God, I hope they can make the space game one day. And they finally announced it, and it was Starfield, and every piece of marketing, the music, the way the game looks, the style they did with the NASA punk, the shots we have of the beauty shots when they're walking on the planets and seeing the natural universe out there. Just whatever's there is there, right? It's gorgeous, man. And I've been in this hype mode of like I'm in a space hype mode too. This is like
Yeah,
made
I
me
know.
like want to watch a bunch of space movies. I'm listening to music that has to do with space.
Interstellar is
like
one of the best, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
dude.
I love 2001. Man,
But no matter
So
what
good.
I watch or anything, nothing compares to what I've already feeling and see for Starfield, right?
yeah.
It's like this is that what he said a long time ago, and people gave him crap for saying this, thinking it would be like, oh, this is like ambitious. The end all be all space game, right? Combining the story, the RPG aspects of a true Bethesda RPG with a space exploration game that puts you into that mode of really going out there and exploring the questions of what's out there in the universe, all these kind of things, and the feeling they're giving with this game, with everything, is just accomplishing that feeling for me, which is amazing to see in a video game. I can't wait for it, bro. It's immense.
Yeah, no,
So,
I'm the
10
same
out of
way.
10. There you go. I guess.
And you know, it's funny. So Pete Hines of Bethesda, he shares some tips on how to play Starfield, guys. He says his one piece of advice for folks is do not ignore your activities. Hines cautioned viewers, it feels like throwaway stuff that the game is giving you, but there is some amazing stuff in there. And he elaborated that the massive world of Starfield will often open up pathways that you don't necessarily feel like. It doesn't necessarily feel like a real quest. Despite that, he encouraged players to follow these threads because they do lead to amazing places and amazing stories. I definitely won't miss out on that kind of stuff because when I play these sort of games, I kind of, I will be sidetracked. I will be going to do one mission, and then let's say an NPC comes up to me and, gives me a new mission. I will go and start that new mission. And then I'll have all these tabs of all these missions to do. And I'll just keep bouncing around and doing these things because I love when stuff like that happens. That was one of the things about Red Dead Redemption 2 that I love so much, that many people out there, I feel, didn't really play Red Dead the way I did anyway. And that is experience the game as you go along. And like when you're riding that horse around, you got to points where you come in contact with people all the time and you get these wacky missions or cool missions and just things open up, or these little instances that happen. And that's all he's trying to say here is that, look, cool stuff happens in our game like that too. It may not feel great at first, but it's going to be amazing if you follow this thread.
Did you hear his story, Fonz, about his mission that went awry a little bit?
No,
So-
I did not hear it.
Yeah,
The one in
he had,
space, yeah.
yeah, so he had taken on this mission, this like side mission he had picked up, that he is supposed to take these people to a different planet, right? And something else happened, and he realizes like he goes on his ship and he's like walking around his ship, and this is like over 5 hours real time later, right? And those people are still sitting there in his ship, and he's like, "Oh my god, I forgot who are these people here? I forgot to take them to their planet a long time ago." He just saw some random strangers sitting there because he got lost in the side quests in the game. I thought it was
That's funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, Spartan661, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, fun speculation, no pun intended. What if you land on a world that has been nuked? What if you landed on a planet that was decimated but was advanced? That's interesting. Yeah, what if you landed on a planet like that, Mav?
It would be cool. I wonder if that's kind of where you find the artifacts. What if that's what happened to that civilization, right? Who knows, man? There's going to be lots of things we discover in this game. But the other interesting thing is they said that the real game doesn't necessarily pick up until you have to beat the main storyline, which leads to a second moment of openness, potentially, or discovery of something more, or some kind of new abilities, or who knows exactly what. But this game is going to be
I expect it to be like most Bethesda RPGs, a slow burn at the very beginning. But then it just ramps up. That's Bethesda RPGs in a nutshell. And for me, you mentioned it earlier, and I believe personally, I don't know F anybody's feelings about it, but Oblivion, Oblivion is the best Elder Scrolls game. Oblivion is the top. I know everybody loves Skyrim, but I think Oblivion was the better game. And I'm hearing like, you know, this reminds people of Oblivion more than something like Skyrim. When people say Skyrim in space, it's like
Phil said that, yeah.
Phil said that as well. I didn't know that, but I've heard that from other people. So that tells me that there's probably more choice involved here and more consequences to that choice, which I'm down for. Like, this is what seriously, when I talk about why I love games, Bethesda is always in that conversation. That is why I'm so hyped. Like, some people out there will say that I'm overly hyping this game, or I'm just doing too much. But that's because that's what I feel about a Bethesda single player RPG. This is really what I love, these types of games. Big open worlds where I get to explore. I got planets. Like planets, not just one. I got planets. And Troyski, I saw your chat earlier. He said that it got a big Sony guy in the community to run out and buy an Xbox because he knew somebody that played the game and went and saw this guy playing the game and he fell in love with it and went out and bought an Xbox and a copy of the game and everything because it floored him. He said Xbox has an amazing game on their hands here. And that's pretty cool. Like, that's, if it gets a real staunch Sony fanboy to do that, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And one of the other things Pete Hines mentioned too was that he was 150 hours in. It wasn't even close to 100% in the game. It hadn't even taken on a lot of the main quests. So I think that's going to be a huge way that I probably end up playing it. It's going to be one of those games where you got to just enjoy it. You just got to sit back. You got to take a look at the landscapes. You can't care about being the first person to finish the story. You just got to go and experience it organically. I think it's going to be such an incredible experience doing it that way. Because I know for me, when I'm playing now with so many games coming out, sometimes I start feeling that anxiety. I got to finish this game to get to the next one. This one is going to be one that I'm not going to do whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, why would you want to do that? That's why I was talking to Mav before the show, and I think I was talking to him before you got here, Plume. But we were having that discussion about this because I told him if I had gotten a review copy, I would have reviewed the game. However, it would have been a review in progress because I would not have finished the game, purposely so. Same. And honestly, anybody that reviews this game and finishes it and beelines the story, honestly, I'm just like, I'm like indifferent to that review. Like, I'd rather hear from somebody who has a review in progress because I know that they're sinking a lot of time and really enjoying the game. That's the kind of review I want to hear about. It's just somebody saying, look, this is how I feel about what I've come into contact so far within the game. And this is what I'm feeling about the mechanics, the gameplay, all that stuff. That's cool. But like, if you just tell me, yeah, I finished the game in 30 hours and this is my feeling. It's like, dude, that's not a Bethesda. That's not how you enjoy these games. Like, for me anyway. So I'm a bit biased when it comes to that. So I'm going to be looking more for the reviews in progress than those that beeline the story. For sure.
Also, one thing I did see today, which is probably going to help the review scores, is that they're saying that this is the least buggy Bethesda game that they've released. Now, how true that is, we will see when the reviews come out. But if it is, then that's going to definitely prop up those review scores more so than they could have been.
I will just tell you unequivocally right now, yes, it is the most,
there you go.
The least buggy game. That's something that everybody's saying.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. Because if you remember every launch of a Bethesda RPG, it was bug ridden. Like, and that's not to say there's no bugs in the game. There are some bugs, but nothing like what we've gotten in the past from them. And that I could attribute that to Microsoft for giving them another year to polish. That was a great idea by them. And sure, we had to wait, but I'd rather wait for, something that turns out even more polished than, rushing a game out and having a buggy game. Look at Cyberpunk. Look what happened there for a lot of people.
Sounds like to me they could have released it in March. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It was a bold statement when Phil said that after the Starfield Direct at the interview with Grub. They said that this was the most like polished, bug-free Bethesda game ever released and stuff at that time, and that was back in June. And they said if it came out today, right at that time.
Yeah.
So I thought it was bold words then, and I was curious. Well, they must be really confident because saying that is pretty strong. And all the early implications from the people behind the scenes have been like, it's like one person called it bug free, but like there's bugs in every single game.
There's
right?
some bugs, but it's not terrible.
Every game's gonna have bugs, right? So I do like part of me like wants there just be some of those ridiculous Bethesda bugs that are just hilarious.
You
right?
guys, are you seeing that gameplay up, guys, in the chat? Like the whole jetpack and shooting thing looks fun as shit. Like that.
Yeah.
I'm specking into that jetpack 100%. I don't care. Death by air. I'm going to be doing that too. And also the punch, that thing looks crazy good too, man. Like I cannot wait to play this game.
How are you going to play it, Fonz? What kind of character are you going to be?
Dude, in every Bethesda game, I usually start off good. Just like with every game I play, I'm pretty straight down the line, good person, But then I end up kind of changing along the way and not necessarily going completely evil, but I'll start doing some bad stuff. I'll just, if I see something I can pirate, I'm going to pirate it. I'm going to steal some stuff and take over ships and I'm going to have a blast in this game, man. I can't wait. But definitely while I'm playing the game, I'm going to be playing in third person most of the time. And then I'm going to switch it to first person just to change things up for the shooting mechanics and stuff. So, yeah. It doesn't it look like when it's in third person and you're shooting, it looks more like a Gears game than like the traditional third
with
person
the camera
shooting.
angle there close over the shoulder.
Yeah, I like that.
Good thought.
I'm definitely going straight pirate right away and trying to steal as much stuff and hijack ships as much as I can. Just 'cause that's just sounds extremely fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
What are you going to join the Crimson Fleet then, I suppose?
Yeah. That's
nice.
That's where I'm thinking about. But you never know, right? When you launch the game, you read through everything. Maybe things change. It's the greatness of it.
Yeah. Alex in the chat says, Fonz, don't be a pirate, be a good guy. No, hey, look, if there's something out there I can take, and I've done this with all like Fallouts or Elder Scrolls games, and it's really cool, I'm going to try to take it. I'm going to try. I hope I don't get like space police going, stop, you've stolen something. Go to jail or pay this, and then I'm going to be like, oh no, but yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen within the game occasionally. I'm going to get caught like I do with every other game from Bethesda, but man, it's almost here. Like, I can't believe we're only 4 days away, guys. 4 days
Crazy.
away. And I've been waiting for this. It seems like I've been waiting forever. It really has. Like the last 2 years, I've been pumping up this game. I've been hyping it up so much, and it's finally going to hit. And man, I'm going to no life it for sure. And my schedule is so busy right now, but I'm basically going to sacrifice sleep to play this game. That's how much I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I think a lot of people are going to be very tired next week.
Oh,
yeah. It's gonna be hard doing our podcast, knowing you could be playing Starfield instead of. That really it will suck, kind of, but like at the same time, it'll give us the chance to kind of get together and reflect on all that stuff, right? So, I can't wait to hear. That's one thing I can't wait is to hear everybody's stories about what they have been doing in the game, right? Because it'll be different for almost every single one of us,
You know what? I don't know anything about it yet. when it comes to the base building or the ship building, but I can't wait to get into that too. Because for me, that's one of the aspects of Fallout 4 that I really enjoyed. Fallout 4 is definitely not the best Fallout game, but it's a good, decent game. I had a blast with it, but the building was one of the aspects that I really loved about it. I built bases everywhere. I built so much in that game that I ran out of memory, and it said, you can no longer build anything. And I'm like, geez, okay. I put about 50 hours just into base building. It was, yeah, I loved
good.
it.
That's crazy when you think about what you're going to be able to do here with all of the different planets. And one of my things I'm looking forward to is how do you protect all of the bases you're building on these planets? Because I believe you can put crew members in different areas, right? And then you can build like some security and all that type of stuff. So I wonder how often you get looted, how you have to protect it, and just how how all that stuff works. Like when you go back, is half the stuff that you've been collecting as resources, is it now stolen? All that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll give you things to put up on in your bases, like turrets and stuff, like you could in Fallout 4. I'm sure you'll be able to do stuff like that. But it should be really fun, and I'm sure it'd be more fleshed out here. Whereas in Fallout 4, I don't think I was ever looted, or sometimes I would have the occasional scavenger or creature come along, and they would just get destroyed by my turrets because my security was just top notch. But dude, there's so much about this game that I have no idea. I've not spoiled myself. I've heard little bits and things from people, but I don't want to know things. Like there's certain things I want to experience on my own. And that's why I never watched that leaked gameplay, because I didn't want to watch the first 45 minutes. I want to open it up myself and enjoy that and really experience it, because I want to just sink everything into this game. Like man, rip my family, man. They're not going to see me, or rip me, because they're not going to see me much. Not at night anyway. Oh man, this is going to be, it's aggravating that I have to wait 4 days, but it's only 4 days. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard.
It's crazy. It's so close.
But man,
crazy. And with the delay, it's like, it's finally here. It's finally here.
Yep. And next week, guys, I will have Gaz from Game On Daily on, which he's had a review code of this game now for over a week. So he's sunk a lot of time into this game. He'll have a lot to talk about. I told him no spoilers, but he's going to get into at least what he feels about the game and stuff. And I will too at that time. We'll all be playing it together at that time. So we'll try to keep spoilers out of the conversation. But I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about this game next week too, because then we'll all know at least the beginning of the game. And by then I was sitting there adding up the hours, and I'll probably have at least 15 to 20 hours in this game by Sunday.
Wow.
That's how much I'm going to play this game in such a short amount of time.
I'm thinking about my week now and what next weekend is going to look like. I think I should be able to get a decent amount of hours in next weekend, which is, Labor Day weekend? So we have an extra day off. Is that next weekend? I think that lines up perfectly.
Yeah.
Game time.
It does. It does.
You're right. Oh, I can ignore my phone on Monday. Oh my God.
There you go.
See, you got extra time, Mav.
Yes. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Anyways, guys, again, the hype is real. Thank you for joining me today and joining Plume Network, Mav, all of us today. We enjoyed our time with you here in the chat, and with those of you listening, of course, thank you very much for listening. Plume, before we go, let everybody know where they can find you. And
you guys can
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter or X, Plume Network, as well as YouTube for my daily news updates at Plume Network.
Nice. And do go watch his stuff if you haven't already. What I like about Plume is that he gives you the news and stuff straight, gaming news and stuff. And even though you lean more Xbox, Plume, I don't see you as being the typical like fanboy. You know what I'm saying? Like you give it to us straight and you give us your own opinions on things, and you don't sound like your typical run of the mill fanboy out here. I appreciate that, Plume. Thank you.
Problem.
Mav, what about you? Where can they find Mav?
Well, if you want to watch more of the typical fanboy and the nonsense,
I didn't say that, Mav.
I'm just kidding. No, but over on Fun Speculation on YouTube, we got multiple podcasts over there. Monday's Fun Speculation podcast, Thursday PM in the PM with Pong Soul and and then Friday's Xbox Ultimate podcast. And then I just announced on one of our shows, we had a show in the past called Fun Pop where we talked movies and TV shows.
I remember that.
And like Marvel and DC stuff and everything. And it's been gone for about a year and a half, but finally in a place, we're going to start bringing that back. So September 5th, that's coming back, and that'll be our Tuesday night show. So
I guarantee you that'll just turn into talking about Starfield again.
Well, I am probably going to talk about what I'd want for a Starfield show as one of the episodes, because that live action trailer really inspired some thought there. They're doing the Fallout show too and stuff, so it's like, come on, if we can get the Starfield show, it'd be amazing. But besides that, yeah, just check it out. Social media everywhere, also Fun Speculation. I appreciate you, Fonz.
I appreciate you too, Mav. And with that, everybody, thank you for being here. And until next time, which is next week, I have Gaz coming on, like I said earlier. I don't know who else I'm going to have on just yet, but Gaz will be here. He already confirmed, and we will have a good time. We might run an hour earlier, though. We might start at 2 p.m. my local time, 1 hour earlier anyway, because of it being so late for him. And I want to, get more UK guys on my show. It's so late for them. So I, gotta try to help them out a bit. They got to go to work and everything. It's hard for them. Anyways, till next time, guys. Game on.